Good morning, Rio Grande third graders. It's so good to see you this morning or have you here this morning. We are going to take notes in our composition notebooks for our multiples of 2, 5, and 10 today. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to look at our table of contents. So we are going to, in our table of contents, add a page. So if you remember last time we took our notes, it was on the properties of multiplication, which was the commutative property. So today we're going to skip a line and we're going to add a page 7, and we are going to have this as one of our 3OA multiplication with multiples. So basically what we're doing is we're adding another strategy to our ability to find the factors, find the products of our multiplication equations using multiples or skip counting in this case. So remember, at any point in time, you can pause this video. If you feel like you are falling behind, you can go ahead and pause and then just continue whenever you caught up with your notes. So, if you remember, our second page is another table of contents, just in case we need it. Page 1 is on place value. Page 2 is rounding to the nearest 10 or 100. On the back of page 2 is rounding to the nearest 100. We have our chart here to help us with our rounding to the nearest 10 and 100. We have our multiplication anchor chart here on page 4. Page 5 is, we were learning about multiplication with arrays here on our page 5. Page 6 was on our order property of multiplication, where we could switch the factors and we are still going to have our same product. And now we are going to go to page 7 and we are going to talk about using our multiples to help us with our multiplication. So in or on page 7, we are going to talk about multiples of factors. And I guess we should capitalize that. So when I say multiples of our factors, we're talking about if our factor is 2, then we're going to count and find our multiples of 2. If our factor that we're focusing on is 5, we're going to skip count and find the products or the multiples of 5. So we know our multiples of 1. So when we count by ones, and I'm just going to put ones here, when we count by ones, we know that our first group of 1 is 1. Our second group of 1 is 2. A third group of 1 would be 3. A fourth group of 1 would be 4. And we would continue adding on a group of 1. For every time we add on a group of 1, this is a multiple of 1. And I'm going to only go up to 10. Well, actually, let's go up to 11. I'm going to go up to 11 to show our multiples of 1 up to 11. So one group of 11 is 11, or 11 groups of 1 is still going to be 11. Our 2's are going to be one group of 2 is 2, 2 groups of 2 is 4, 3 groups of 2 is 6, 4 groups of 2 is 8, 5 groups of 2 is 10, 6 groups of 2 is 12, so I'm adding on another group of 2 every time. 7 groups of 2 is 14, 8 groups of 2 would be 16, 16. Almost got ahead of myself with the 18. 9 groups of 2 would be 18. 10 groups of 2 is 20. And if I add on one more group of 2, that would be 22. And I, of course, could continue adding on groups of 2 from now until forever. But we just want to, for the sake of helping us with our multiplication, we're just going to go up to 22 at this point. I'm going to skip my 3's for right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and put 3's here just as a placeholder. And also my 4's as well. And I'm going to go down to my 5's here. So again, we skip count by 5's. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 groups of 5 is 15. 4 groups of 5 is 20. 25. And remember, our factor is 5 here, so we're skip counting by a factor of 5. So we're looking for the multiples of 5 when our factor is 5. 35. 8 groups of 5 is 40. 9 groups of 5 is 45. 10 groups of 5 is 50. And 11 groups of 5, or 5 times 11, is 55. If I wanted 12 times 5, I would add on another group of 5, and that would give me 60. So we could continue counting up groups of 5 and finding out how many groups of 5 we have to get our product. So remember, your multiples are your products when you're multiplying these factors. Okay? We're going to go down. We'll come back to these later at a later time. But let's go ahead and take a look at our 10s. So again, just like our 2's and 5's, we have one group of 10 is going to be 10. And if we continue adding on another group of 10 every time, our multiples are going to increase by 10 for every group that we add on. So this is 5 groups of 10. I add on another 10. Now I'm at 6 groups of 10, which is 60. 7 groups of 10 is 70. 8 groups of 10 is going to be 80. 9 groups of 10, or 9 times 10, is going to be 90. 10 groups of 10, we know is 100. And if I add on 11 groups of 10, or add on another group of 10, I would have 110. And of course, as you know, we could add on another group of 10, and we would have 12 groups of 10, which would make that pattern 120. So basically, multiples are patterns of skip counting. And when we continue skip counting by a specific factor, or a specific number in this case, we are going to get our products or our multiples of that factor. So we've done factors of 2's, we've done the factor of 5's, we've done the factor of 10's, and also 1's. Now, one other thing that we need to think about is 0. So I'm just going to place 0 down here at the bottom. And when we have 0, that tells us that we are always going to have 0 as a product. Because it does not matter how many groups of 0 I add, when we skip count by 0, it's 0. So anytime we have 0 as a factor, 0 as a product is going to be our multiple there. We're going to get 0 as a product. So watch your video lesson for today on your multiples, and you are going to use this to help you with your assignment today. So have a wonderful Monday, and I will see you tomorrow during our math lesson. Have a great day, guys.